first item on the agenda is approval of the August 27th minutes. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved. We have some old business, which is still an update.
Yes. So the Han easement agreement is put together in its final form. We are just waiting on some guidance from both Public Works and our Corporation Council on if the commission needs to approve it. We're not quite sure if it's something that needs approval or not. And then also which parties need to sign it. So once I have firm guidance on that, which I hope should be within the next week or two, I'll include that in one of my email updates. But the document is finished with the terms that we discussed at the last meeting. So as soon as we hear back on if it needs to be approved or not, we will be good to go.
Okay, so it'll be on October if we do. All right, new business.
Hey, on old business, if I may, we
Yes.
still need to have the Lindsay Park Yacht Club lease issue. It's not resolved yet, because it's gonna be the first of the year before long, and they'll be sending out new contracts.
Okay.
And this is a review of the lease, right?
Well, it's a review of the fact that the yacht club is requiring marina members to be mandatory members of the yacht club.
Yeah, it's reviewing if the commission has any standing in that by reviewing the lease, right? So it needs to go to the corporation council.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
No, it's not a staff. All right. Okay, now we're in new business. Though we've talked about it, Miracle at the Freight House lease is up for approval.
Yes, so their lease is for 10 weeks, 2 weeks of move-in. They'll be operational for 6 weeks and then 2 weeks of move-out. We kept their rent rate the same this year. They were great tenants last year. I anticipate they will be great tenants again this year. They're really excited to be back in the space. I think it was really positive for them, but also really positive to boost Freight House traffic as well. So the lease is,
They've reviewed the lease.
they have reviewed it, yes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Okay, approved. All right, now we're to the Mississippi Valley Blues Society lease, which is also approved.
Yes, so theirs is a 2-year lease with the option for a 1-year renewal. Solely because they're a nonprofit, and their funds have kind of been fluctuating over the last couple of years. So they don't want to commit to, more than they can handle. So 2 years with hopefully the 1-year renewal. They did want to reiterate that they really enjoy that space and enjoy being a part of the Riverfront. So I said I would pass that along.
So for approval, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Deny, say no? Okay, we're all here. Now, CHS Inc. lease.
Yes.
Approval.
So this one is on the very back side of your packet if you hadn't had a chance to review it. It is an addendum to their existing lease. So just to kind of give a little bit of an update / background, the lease terms dictated 2 years with 5 10-year renewals. We believe that somewhere along the way, another 10-year renewal was added, with the documents that we have, which are a 2004 addendum and a 2014 addendum. Those are specified as the 3rd renewal and the 4th renewal respectively, were signed off on by city staff. So we did, under the guidance of Corporation Council, move forward with this being a 5th and final renewal. So when that comes to an end in 2034, it will be a whole new lease with all new terms. So that's just to kind of provide a little bit of an update on that one. Theirs has been reviewed by legal. Our Corporation Council reviewed it as well.
Is there a motion to approve this addendum to the lease?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion?
Yes, so because the 2004 in 2014 were mislabeled as the third and fourth 10-year periods. We're assuming, even though there's no paperwork, that another 10-year option was added. Because this was a 2-year base and 5 10-year options, which is 52 years, which we are at this October.
I think it's a mistake to call the third and fourth approvals as mistakes. So they probably had access to maybe an original, sounds like there was a 2-year lease, a 10-year lease, and then 5 10-year extensions. And in 2004 and 2014, staff, this commission, and CHS all signed off on that.
Right.
So
So
I
that would
think,
mean that it would have had to come in front of the commission for approval.
Correct.
So it could have been modified,
I
but you didn't get the minutes.
I think our presumption is in 1974, there was a 10-year lease,
Right,
and then there were 5 10-year extensions after that. And the fact that 2004 collaborates with that timeline and 2014 collaborates with that timeline, we wouldn't have a legal standing to try to say, oh, you're done here in 2024.
That's not how the contract reads, right? It
Well,
says,
that-
it
from
says
a-
ending for October in 84, 94, 04, 14, 24.
The gap is something happened in there, and then fast forward to 2004, and it seems like that was the third 10-year extension. Fast forward to 2014, that was the fourth of 5. So something happened in there that we don't have access to. Previous commissions, previous tenant have all signed off on it, legal signed off in 2004 and 2014. I don't think it's worth, I mean, unless you guys want to try to legally fight it, I don't know what we're talking about.
okay, so it probably went in front of the commission, but you didn't see what the minutes said, that they did sign off on it, so they must have taken action in the meeting.
Yeah, so the
It might have-
2004, 2014 addendums were
So it might
signed.
have rolled over again.
It's possible.
Yeah, okay.
The one thing I would state for this, my discussion with legal, I think legally, you're bound to do a 5th and final extension, which, whether you think it's the 6th or the 5th, but it's 10 more years, and it's a big operation, so the suggestion would be, I think to Dan's point, if you'd like to send a signal and or maybe first have your discussion here at this body that you want to revisit this in 10 years, I think this is a good time. That's a good signaling time, and 10 years is a good preview for an entity like this to say, hey, we might want to think about this in 10 years, so you know this is your final 10 year. You know, in my mind, if you did want to pull the trigger and say this is inaccurate, it's probably in bad faith that we didn't do it in 2004 and then we didn't do it again in 2014.
Right.
You know, so I would say now would be the signaling time for the
So
future.
wouldn't they be aware of that this is basically their last 10-year one, or no? They
But
wouldn't?
yeah, they would.
I think
They wouldn't bring it up.
for the minutes, we can do this and see, and if this helps you. We got a motion on the floor in a second. And, you know, we could add part of that motion if the person first and seconded it to send a letter to them with the addendum that is the final lease.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could.
I don't think we
easily
need to
be-
say anything other than it's the
Yeah.
final 10-year lease of our.
Right, it could be easily included in the addendum to state that it's the final. I don't have a problem with it being approved. My problem is it seems like we're approving something that doesn't exist. I do government contracting all day, every day, federal government contracting, and I mean, the way we have a contract, we're approving something that doesn't exist. So that was my concern. I mean, there's no other use for the land, right? I don't have a problem with that. So as long as the legal thinks we're on good standing, I mean, no one else is clamoring for the land, right? No one else is gonna protest it. But we definitely need to send a signal that, hey, somewhere between now and 10 years from now, we're going to renegotiate a new 155-year contract with 35-year extensions. You know, so.
Well, and that's an important distinction that you make, because it's not notice on, we're not gonna renew a lease, we're just gonna revisit the terms.
Right, the existing contract, which I think should be ending in 10 days, but we're gonna let them know it's gonna be ending 10 years and 10 days from now, or whenever we send it.
Yeah, I think added to that letter, you may
Yep.
remind them that the city council also has approval.
Right.
And,
Yep.
anything over 3 years.
Right.
And so coming back would not only be, you know, a negotiation, but a pretty significant one.
So
And they may not know that because they weren't there 50 years ago.
Sure.
yeah, I mean, I was agreeing with them, I was on 8, but so not only the option period is ending 10 years from now, but the contract is ending
Yep.
10 years from now.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
Yeah. So we'll send that along with it, and that'll be part of your motion in the second, is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Great, and just so everybody is aware, the addendum does state that this is the 5th of 5 10-year renewal terms.
But you might talk about it. It comes back.
Yep, absolutely.
So they know in 3 years, it's just not a commission. All right.
I'm
All
not
those,
sure, I'm not sure I'd word it that way. I would say that it's the final, because I don't know that's the 5th of 5. It might be the 6th of 5. But however, we're gonna word it, but it's easy to say that it's the final
Okay.
10-year option for the contract.
is under, okay.
We
All
haven't
those-
voted, we haven't voted yet, have we?
No, we haven't, I'm gonna try to do that right now. All those
Is there
who,
an amendment or?
well, I asked if they would take that as an amendment, the first and the second, and they said yes, so is that okay?
So we vote
We're
as
gonna vote
amended.
on that first, and then vote on the change.
Amendment first and then
All right.
the bill. Is that-
Let's vote on the amendment to the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Now we're ready for the main motion. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, we got it done. Excellent. All right, now we're into Freight House improvement updates.
Yes, so I was hopeful I would have a document to share with you tonight. I have not received it in its final form yet. However, Estes Construction has put together a Freight House improvements cost opinion. That's based off of the conversations that we had with the tenants back in April. So they made some suggestions on areas that they feel would probably be, that's very echoey, would be kind of priority areas, things that we should definitely be looking at first, and then gave some cost recommendations for that. They sent me a draft just to make sure that everything that we were hoping to have included was in there. Everything that, I think had been mentioned as priority by our tenants was indeed in there. So I let them know that, and he said he would get back to me with a final copy. As soon as I've been provided that, I will send that out to the commission for everyone's review. And then should that be before our next meeting in October, I'll make sure that that's an agenda item as well, so we can start to discuss that.
All right. Now we're into future business.
Great. Yes, so this conversation kind of came about, we had a work session back in June. And after last month's meeting, Andrea had asked if we were ready to kind of move forward. In discussing with Bruce, I think we're at a point now where things staffing-wise are starting to settle. For those of you who have not met her yet, this is Denise Hanitka. She is our new Chief Communications Officer, my new supervisor, and will also be playing some role within the commission as well. So now that she is in place, we still have Bruce for any help that we might need on that end. We figured now would probably be a good time to continue this conversation into long-term planning, short-term planning, and just kind of general goals for the commission moving forward. So we think the next step for that should be to schedule another work session with city staff present, to kind of help guide the conversation a little bit to decide, what it is the commission is looking to do. Do we need to have a broader conversation with the facilitator? That's more along the lines of like a strategic plan, or do we just want to do some, short-term goal setting amongst this group, for, the foreseeable future? So, that's kind of where we landed on things. I don't know if anybody has any discussion on that.
I was not able to be at the work session. Did anything come out of it in terms of some direction that we would go, or what was the outcome of the work session? Maybe that would be helpful.
I would say the outcome was people were definitely interested in having a conversation about further goals. There was some talk about having champions for different parts of the riverfront. So people who may, champion the Freight House area, the Village area, so that as we're talking about those different areas during our meetings, people can speak, knowledgeably, or if they've noticed things that, perhaps need some upkeep, that we'll have specific point people for those areas. That was an idea that was brought up. But I think also just kind of this idea of like, okay, like, long-term, what is it that the commission's wanting to do? We talked about how River West was, in the works, but kind of stalled, and there's been some other ideas that have been brought forth. But I think generally people were excited about the idea of moving forward on some sort of planning.
So it sounds to me like we would need a facilitator of some type
Yes,
in order to sort of guide us into, actionable.
right,
points.
yes,
That would just be my first thought.
okay. Great.
Did we have minutes from that meeting?
I will have to look if
That
we,
might be helpful.
I will go back and I'll check.
I recall some of them.
Work session. I do know that one was recorded, so even if we don't have minutes, we do have a recording that I can reference
And
back
maybe we
to.
can maybe work at, if we don't have much on the agenda next time, we can work a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Where we want to go right there.
Maybe someone could put a summary together from the recording.
Yep.
and have the minutes.
Yeah, I can do that.
That might be helpful.
Okay, so since then.
Yes.
Okay. So that's future business. Management update.
Yes. I have a number of things for you tonight. So first I'll start with kind of facility projects. So the Freight House roof is under construction currently. Things seem to be going well from what I've heard. They are starting down at the diner end and then working their way along. So as I understand it, and I am definitely not a roofing expert, they're going to take off the existing roof and then they'll be putting the new roof over the top of that and then moving on to the next piece. There was some discussion about whether they're able to do the gutters that way as well. They were gonna kind of figure it out as they went. And so as I get more updates, I'm happy to share those. They have confirmed the project will be complete no later than November 1st, which is great. Hopefully before it starts snowing.
Who's the bidder again?
Um,
Contractor.
I would need to, I know it's OPN Architects. I would need to look again and see who the roofing company is.
And it's a rubberized roof that's going.
I believe so, yes. Okay.
Cool.
So there's that piece. We are moving forward with a full rekey of Union Station. So they have a meeting Thursday to go through the building. They're gonna kind of try to figure out which tenants need which things. And then we'll be moving forward, with getting that whole building rekeyed for us, which will be great and long overdue. And then my final kind of maintenance project is the Marquette Street docks, which have kind of been an ongoing thing. I get daily phone calls about it. People are very, very excited to get the docks back in. We had a meeting, with Reed, who is our dock installer. He said in his professional opinion, it was gonna be about $7,000, potentially more, to repair the docks. And so I asked him in his professional opinion what he thought about new docks, and he said that is definitely not his area of expertise. He repairs and installs, and so if we were looking to actually get new docks, that's something we would need to look into elsewhere. So I roped in Nicole Gleason at that point. She is our acting city administrator, and she made a recommendation, which Dee also had mentioned about getting Public Works involved, as they have a welder.
Well.
Yeah.
Building.
So they went down, they took a look at it last week. They think they should be able to take care of the full scope of the repair, themselves, which is great for us. So, they will be transporting the docks up to Public Works this next week, and then getting those repairs taken care of. So hopefully by beginning of October, which is about the time we would take the docks out anyway, the docks should be in full repair, which is good news for next season. So,
Royal family.
yes, so,
Make use of the tools we already have.
yes.
I said, yeah, we got a welder.
Yes, so I did relay that to Reed, he was really excited about that, he said to let us know if we need help getting docks in or out. He does officially plan to retire when this project is complete, which he's told me about 3 times, so we'll see. But he did say that he is planning to retire once this season is up, so we will, need to find a new contractor to handle
So they're not
those.
gonna go back down there after they repair.
I don't think so, I think we're gonna put them back in storage, so,
Makes sense.
yeah.
With bumpers so they don't get hit.
Yes.
So usually most boats, most marinas close at the end of October.
Okay.
So as far as marina people.
Timeline.
using it, But your fishermen and stuff, they use it all winter, so.
Okay.
But the slip holders at wherever, Lindsay
Okay.
or Marquee or Sunset, if they come out here, they're usually.
That is
just
good to
till the
know.
End of October.
Wonderful. Okay, fantastic. Just a couple other small items. The diner's lease is coming to an end at the end of next month. Per their payment plan, they should have their current balance paid off in full by September 30th. So once I have more information on that, I will share that with the commission so that we can make a decision on moving forward there. And then as far as events, our fall concert series is halfway over, down at Quinlan Court. It's been a little hit or miss as far as attendance, but last week was very well attended. We probably had about 100 people kind of in and out. We had 5 food trucks down there. It was very well received. A lot of people were really excited about it, asking if there were more concerts coming up. Our concert this week features this gentleman over here and his band. So come on down, 6:30 to 8 at Quinlan Court. It should be lots of fun. We'll have a bunch of food trucks down there again, and then we'll have 2 more the first 2 Thursdays in October. And then this went out to our media group this morning, but Fright House After Dark is going to return to the Fright House. We've pared it down to 1 weekend this year instead of 4, partially for my sanity, but also it'll probably do better with the weather. So it will be October 11th and 12th. The farmer's market is going to be holding some like fun costume contests, things of that nature. They will also be open in the evening as well with extended hours. That was a really big hit last year. I've not heard back from any of our other tenants yet about whether or not they want to participate, but they've got a couple more days to let me know. And then we've got a lot of food trucks on board, several entertainment vendors on board. So it should be a really fun weekend. So if you're looking for something to do and you want to get your face painted, come on down. I think that is it. Bruce, do you have anything that you need to
I
add?
can't have face painting.
Okay, I know.
So when you go through the Greek key and you do the locks.
Yes.
And maybe this is too far in the weeds, but do you do like a master key system? So,
Yes,
okay, so each tenant has to have their own key, but
correct.
PW or whoever would have their
Yes.
own key that gets it home, so they have to carry like.
Yes, and that's part of the reason for the rekey is because since things have been rekeyed so many times, our suite facilities maintenance staff has just a massive ring of keys, so that's kind of what we're working towards, so, yes.
All right, Chris.
Well,
It's your show.
Parks Advisory Board, we had a little introduction to a new full-time staff member, a new senior clerk for Parks, Alyssa Stewart. It was a part-time senior clerk position that retired, and they upgraded it to a full-time senior clerk doing admin stuff down at River's Edge. And so she gave a quick introduction. We had our election for positions, and I was reelected again for the liaison to this organization. There was a little interest this year, so I don't know, I may give someone else a turn next year, but I'm here for another year at least. And then there was a question from one of our members about Quinlan Court, trees being clearly dead, and Chad said either he or Natural Resources would look into that before our next meeting.
I think that's been looked into,
Just in the last week.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You can add the Veterans Memorial Park into that category, because they're all dead there as well.
Off the riverfront, the multi-sport courts have opened now at Cork Hill Park, Van Buren Park, and Harrington Park, which are tennis, pickleball, different things that can be used for. They're pretty cool, and they have built-in lights. And then there's a new volunteer system that they're working on, so hopefully they can do something with increased kind of parks volunteer opportunities. That's something several of us on the Parks Advisory Board have been kind of asking for a long time is more, like, there's a lot of community members that would like to help out with vandalism problems or whatever, kind of like Bettendorf has the Parks Ambassador program, but it's the coordinating of all of those people that's staff time and almost potentially would require a staff person. So they have a new system that a new computer system that they're implementing to track volunteers and have an online portal and stuff. So hopefully that can lead to more ability for the public to help out, because Parks is always struggling to get all their work done with their limited funds. And then we heard, which was in the news today, I believe, about Junior Theater not moving to North Park because it's too expensive for a temporary build out, is what they found out. So they're looking into other options. Probably not the Riverfront, but I can't speak for them. It's still hush hush.
All right,
So that's all I have from Parks.
thank you.
I have a question. Where are we at with the different readings for Main Street Landing with the city council? How's that going? Just curious.
It was a single reading resolution, like to go out to bid, so that got approved. So, yeah.
It went out to bid. My understanding is it's supposed to come back to us in November, maybe the first cycle of November. So,
To approve the bids, is that?
you have to
Select.
select
Any
the awarded contract. It's the last, that would be the last vote.
Yep, I think so.
So we need that one to come in under budget.
There was a little concern on Parks
Percentage
about that.
There is.
I mean, just, there was one Parks Advisory Board member was worried that it would be considerably higher than 20 million, but hopefully he's wrong.
So one general contractor, or so just one for the whole project? That's grant funded?
I'll give you my read, I don't know.
I think it's one.
I think it's structured, I mean, I don't know that, they're looking for a proposal, but I think it will likely have some other, I mean, like, for example, the equipment, the tower, there's only about 2 companies that make that, right? And so, you know, there would be probably a general and some other,
So
contractors.
that person's getting who they are, they're gonna include that.
Right.
So you just have one general, so you
That's my
can,
guess.
I guess the end of the year, right, to get under contract.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why,
Stuff.
there's essentially only, one or two meetings of play there if something goes sideways. But there's a lot of contingencies built into the plan. And, we have been very clear, for a number of years now that it has to come back under budget. So, that was built into the plan.
And your documents have the ability to,
Flex.
I don't wanna call it, re-engineer, show the council something less to be a budget. Without having council say you gotta do it and then come back, right?
So
you
there
get that all
are
done.
certain features that,
Yeah.
because of the destination Iowa money, that
Yeah.
have to be in the plan. There are other things that
Right.
could come in or come out based on where we're at with the budget.
Cool, all right.
I too would like to help out with vandals, just let me know what my options are. I'll help out with vandals.
Yeah, because it's been an issue all throughout Parks, and I mean, I don't know if just going to Little League games and stuff, and the bathrooms are closed, and there's porta potties outside because they've been damaged. So, I mean, that's, just having eyes there prevents that. So I think getting volunteers to just spend a couple hours in a park would really help out. But there needs to be a system in place, and probably a bunch of liability stuff.
No public, so I think we can adjourn. Next meeting is October 22nd.
I can have one thing I'd
Oh.
like to mention. Scott and I are very active members of the Friends of Veterans Memorial Park, the group that's helping the city develop the Veterans Memorial Park. We're both officers on that committee. And we, as a committee, as a Friends group, I should say, we have ideas to add things to the Veterans Memorial Park, just like we added the mural in phase 2, we added 14 signs, and we added the bugler. Well, we have 6 or 7 more projects that we, as a group, have funded partly, and we were ready to go get them. And in phase two, just to give you a quick synopsis, we pretty much have a guy that took the reins, Andy Zinn, who's the vocational welding instructor at West High School. He's been at it long enough that he has a lot of contacts in construction now that were former students. They came down, dug the holes, poured the concrete. We didn't ask the city for anything other than just let us go. And they did, and we did, and we got that done. So we have Billy Fisher, who's our city representative, who comes to our Friends meeting once a month. And I don't know how many months it's been now, several months ago for sure. When we told him our ideas of what we want to put into what we call phase three, he said, well, not so fast this time. Now you have to submit detailed E-plans to the city staff. They have to be okayed by our city engineers. And so and then they further said, you're not going to be able to have one of our staff members look at your projects because they're so far behind until November. So obviously we lost this whole year. As far as actually putting anything into the park this year, which kind of upsets us in a way because we would like to do it. We want to do it. We have funds for a lot of the projects that we want to do, but we can't do it. I just want to give you an update as a Riverfront Improvement Commission because we haven't stalled out. We're still very active. We still have, I'll tell you our projects. The only project that we have initiated, and it's going very well, is a brick. You can buy a brick for $100. It's a fundraiser for our friends group as well as a place where the public can get a personalized brick. And it's all online. You can go online at our website. And Roger Grandboys, who's one of our members, he made a tremendous webpage for our buying of bricks. And you can buy a brick and have it personalized. So that's one of the projects. We also have 2 statues. One is a life-size statue of a female combat soldier. We want to honor females and their contribution to the military. And this one's unique in the fact that it's a combat female veteran, which is relatively new. I think I forget the date now, but they allowed females to go into combat. So we want to recognize that. And that'll be over in the area of the 3 Middle East wars that we have signage. That's where that statue will go. And then we have a sailor statue, which is kind of our own version of takeoff of the lone sailor. There are 18 lone sailor projects around the country. I saw the one across the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Scott checked into it actually. And it's $250,000 to get one of those lone sailor statues and so forth. So it's a ridiculous amount of money, but we are going to get a sailor statue we think is really, really nice. That's 2 projects. We're putting up 6 flagpoles, a flagpole behind each of the 6 branches that we put up a sign for the military. We want a flag to go up behind that sign representing each branch. We have a totem pole, like on MASH, you know, where they have a thing and they got arrows pointing in different directions for different wars. That's another project. We have a wall that's 4 feet by 8 foot. It's a takeoff of the wall in Washington, D.C. for Vietnam vets that were killed. Ours is a wall that depicts within a 30-mile radius of the Quad Cities, including the Illinois side. It has the names of Quad City area veterans who were killed in Vietnam. So we have that to go in there. And we have a Soldier's Cross, which was carved by Tom Gleich. It's a wooden structure that will be installed as well. So we have money for the flagpoles. That project is funded. We've already paid half on the 2 statues. So and we have enough money we can pay it when we're ready to pay the rest of that. So we're on our way, but unfortunately we're being held up because we had to submit detailed plans. And then we got a hold up because one of the city staff wasn't going to be able to get to our project until November. So we're pushed off into next year now. So I just want to give you an update. We haven't forgotten our Veterans Memorial Park. We're still very active on working on making that happen. And I just wrote a grant to the SCRA, the Bettendorf Casino, a grant request to fund those two statues. It's about $13,000 to fund those two statues. And if you know the SCRA, they pay you after you buy the project, and then they reimburse you. So I just want to give you an update as to, as the Veterans Memorial Park, one of the Riverfront projects that we are a part of. Just want to give you an idea of, we haven't forgotten, we just got put on hold, so to speak.
Thank
Do you
you,
have
Bill.
anything, Scott?
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you, Bill. Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned.